Each and every NBA offseason, fans are treated to the sight of new superstar tandems being formed seemingly out of nowhere. And the Kevin Durant-Kyrie Irving duo from Brooklyn, which was born during last year's offseason, is no exception, as it is probably one of the most intriguing team-ups in recent offseasons outside of the LeBron and Anthony Davis team-up in LA. And of course, the recent hiring of legendary two-time MVP point guard Steve Nash as the new Nets head coach further sparked the interest of fans all over the league. Well, it's no secret that KD and Uncle Drew are two of the top offensive guys in the NBA, who both are considered as legit superstars. KD, of course, is a two-time Finals MVP and multiple-time scoring champ, while Kyrie is one of the most talented point guard shot creators in the game, while also being known as that guy who shot an all-important clutch three in Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals, aside from being LeBron's longtime sidekick, obviously. But despite these two guys' accolades during their careers, and despite the fact that they haven't even stepped on the court as Nets teammates together, a lot of fans have already begun to question whether or not this superstar tandem can play well alongside each other and give Brooklyn a championship. Well, probably because of some red flags connected to both of them during their previous stints with their former teams. Well, there's obviously those mini scuffles with teammates in the past that can be linked to both KD and Kyrie's episodes of bad publicity. But more so, as good as those two are, can first-time head coach Steve Nash actually get his groove going while handling two ball-dominant superstars in a Nets team that has other talented players ready to contribute and win now? What's good, guys? My name is Riro Balls, and in this video, we'll take a look at how the Brooklyn Nets can possibly build a dynasty in the East while being led by their own Batman and Robin, who unfortunately are seen by many as a pair of modern NBA villains. There's no debate as to whether or not the Brooklyn Nets can be very scary for at least the next couple of seasons, and general manager Sean Marks for sure got a little bit of a bargain when they were able to lock their superstar duo for 4 years. Kevin Durant's $164 million deal and Kyrie Irving's $141 million deal can both be seen as good value max contracts as compared to that of other big-name tandems around the league. And while there wouldn't be any shortage of talent to be found inside this Brooklyn Nets squad, how far they can go actually could depend largely on Kevin Durant's health. Of course, reports have been out there that he's been looking sharp coming off that Achilles injury. He's working out far ahead of schedule and so on. But if you're a basketball fan, you're probably wondering, will he really be the same explosive scorer once he steps foot on his first actual NBA game back from that devastating injury? Should it be a legit concern for Nets fans that KD will already be 32 years old once he comes back for the 2021 season? Because usually, a lot of NBA players, even the pure shooter type of guys, start to slow down and decline beginning in their early 30s. Well, personally, I think KD will still come back the same old assassin who can easily put up 30 points while bringing tons of championship experience to any team. If any, I would probably be far more concerned with Kyrie Irving's unwillingness to take a step back and be less ball dominant because let's face it, Durant's going to be holding the ball maybe like 70% of the time, and Kyrie needs to completely realize that in order for them to win a ton of games. But for now, I think it's better for us to assume that they'll figure out the right way to play and build chemistry as a mature 1-2 punch for the Nets, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Also, I think Kyrie can have some of his best seasons once he starts playing with KD because for one, he's right on his prime at 27 years old, and I believe that he'll be on a mission to prove that he can be a better teammate to Kevin Durant than say Stephen Curry or Russell Westbrook. I think it's just sad that Kyrie was somehow robbed of his chances to show off in some of the game's biggest moments. That is, of course, when he caught a knee injury during the 2015 NBA Finals against Golden State, and once again when he was sidelined for the entire 2018 playoffs when he was with the Celtics. And based on a little sneak peek when Kyrie suited up for the Nets in 20 games this 2019 to 2020 season, he actually put up stellar numbers consisting of 27.4 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 6.4 assists per game on 48% shooting. But unfortunately, he had to get arthroscopic surgery on his shoulder, which again abruptly ended his season. Obviously, If you're looking at a team with multiple superstars who are clearly all in on winning a championship, you'd probably expect to see such a team being guided by an experienced coach who's earned his stripes on the sidelines. This is why probably a lot of people were actually shocked with the Nets management's hiring of Steve Nash, and obviously, a lot of fans were rubbed the wrong way by this move. And yes, you can say, oh yeah, he's a great player and a multiple-time MVP, but how can he actually help a team with an established core if he doesn't even have a single season of coaching experience under his belt? Well, here's the thing. You can look for a seasoned coach all you want, and you can rant about Steve Nash not being the most qualified guy for the job. But personally, I think he just might be the right guy to be guiding two of the most disliked players in the league. And I'm actually excited to see how a seemingly chill kind of guy can impart his kind of discipline to a championship contender this early in his coaching career. Also, it's not a secret that KD and Kyrie are two of the most misunderstood guys around the league, who are even branded as divas on multiple occasions. And because of that, I think that more than anything, what this superstar tandem needs is a player's coach. One who relates to them on a more personal level other than just with pure X's and O's. Plus, I think that him being a huge part of offensive genius Mike D'Antoni's system for a long time can help him guide the team with two elite scorers better. And given that Nash and Durant already spent time together when Nash was helping KD with his game in Golden State, it's not even hard to understand why the Nets made this call. And just to prove a point, you can look at other coaches like Doc Rivers, Mark Jackson, and Steve Kerr. All those guys had no previous coaching gigs when they were hired respectively, and we all know how those guys have been quite good at what they did in terms of strategizing for their teams. And also, there's a reason why great players and NBA champs like Jason Kidd and Derek Fisher were unable to deliver the results for the teams that they coached, and that is, strategies and coaching doesn't mean anything if you ain't got a good team. And well, the Brooklyn Nets are probably going to be a great team moving forward because aside from their two stars, they have a pretty talented and competitive core which features Caris LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jarrett Allen, DeAndre Jordan, and even possibly Joe Harris if they get to resign him. What's great is that all those guys with the exception of Harris are pretty much locked up with their contracts up until 2022 at least. Plus, all those guys are already pretty solid pieces who can contend for a title as early as next season. What's for sure is that Steve Nash has just got to surround himself with the right assistant coaches who can help him get this team on the same page the quickest time possible. Just like what other star-studded teams do, Brooklyn needs to make sure that they get to utilize the prime years of their superstars, which is probably no other time than now. And if you ask me, if that means trading for another proven all-star or another impactful role player, then they probably shouldn't hesitate to trade one or two of their young pieces to acquire the right guys to play alongside two potent scorers and shot creators. And while there has been much talk about Caris LeVert already being that third star the Nets need to go along with KD and Kyrie, I personally still have reservations regarding how I'll fit with those two, especially in terms of making shots and whatnot. Well, don't get me wrong, I think that LeVert is a great player who's got a really versatile offensive arsenal, as seen by his recent performances, and just recently, in the Orlando bubble, he actually did great, averaging 25 points together with almost 7 assists per game. But if you think about it, the guy mostly needs to put the ball in his hands to generate shots, and if you're Caris LeVert, being with two other ball-dominant superstars on your team might not be the best situation to be in if you're a developing scorer. What's for sure though is that LeVert can even be a legit second or third option in another contending team, and trading him for another proven playoff guy can put Brooklyn in a better position to win. Well, we can never be certain if he's actually that third star that KD and Kyrie need, because only time will tell if he's going to play along pretty well. But I feel like if the Nets are eyeing a championship as soon as possible, then they could look to package him along with a pick and probably someone like Jarrett Allen, who's in his rookie deal. Then they'll be all set to go after a star wing just like Bradley Beal or CJ McCollum, who you know would still be making plays no matter what the flow of the game dictates. And well, I don't really think that giving up some pieces to further increase the team's chances of winning a championship is going to be a big concern for the Nets front office at this point. You can just tell that the team has been preparing for a moment like this when they were able to convince both Kyrie and KD to sign for less than a supermax deal, which definitely helped the team's chances to trade for another big-name all-star, which they can already do this coming 2020 offseason. I believe that the Nets have been planning on pulling off something like this together the moment that they renounced their rights to D'Angelo Russell, and then when they traded Allen Crabbe's terrible $18.5 million salary. And obviously, you gotta give credit to GM Sean Marks for doing this well in building a contender so far. Well, you can just imagine how competitive this Brooklyn Nets team will be once the 2021 season kicks in, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them on top of the Eastern Conference once everything is said and done. Remember, this team is going to be led by two legit NBA champions who have proven time and again that they can shine on the NBA's biggest stages when it matters most. And they'll be just as hungry as ever to compete at a high level considering that those injuries have taken away significant moments from their prime years. Plus, the addition of head coach Steve Nash has just made things much more interesting in a basketball fan's perspective. The lights are bright in Brooklyn, but the Nets just might have found the right stars who won't shy away from basketball's biggest stages. And barring any other extended absences from Kyrie and KD due to injuries, I think that the Nets are gonna be legit contenders for the next 2 to 3 years, and if they do win a championship, the NBA would probably flip the script again in favor of those two villains. Thank you for sticking until the end of the video, and if you've enjoyed this one, please help me promote my content by subscribing to the channel. And if you want to hear about anything NBA on my next contents, then feel free to hit me up in the comment section to let me know. Also, don't forget to smash the like button, or better yet, share the video so we can spread the word. Again, this is Riro, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.